Good morning. It's Saturday, April 26, 2025, 7:46 a.m. So, you know how we've been discussing where does the coffee bean come from, or the coffee beans in the coffee you're drinking. And remember the other day we had Naples, it means Naples in Italian, which is at the southern part of Italy. But that's way above where coffee is grown in the world. This morning we're having Ispirazione Italiana Venezia. Venezia is the Italian name for Venice. Venice is even further north than Napoli or Naples. Is the coffee in these capsules grown in Italy? No. This coffee comes from Brazil and Colombia. And what Nespresso tries to do is to make a coffee of the type that would be popular in the area that it named the coffee for. Sometimes, like I think in the case of Venezia, what they've done is because Venice, oh hey Benny, good morning, I see your name there. Venice was an area where when coffee would come from, make its journey like in the, I don't know, 1700s, 1800s, it would go through Turkey and come on up and go to Venice and be distributed around throughout Europe. And the fact that these are beans from far away sort of brings that to mind. Of course, they were not bringing coffee from Brazil and Colombia way back a few hundred years ago. But anyhow, yeah, I think it's just the idea that Venice was a place where a lot of things came from far away. I don't know. I guess we'd have to ask Nespresso. You know what? I'm going to ask Alexa. This is always a shot in the dark here. Never know what kind of answer she comes up with. Alexa, why is Nespresso coffee called Venezia?
Because the Nespresso coffee has flavors of Florence. It was named after that.
Okay, she totally didn't get it. Well, skip that. All right. Now, I didn't come on yesterday. I'm here now, and I've got a lot of milk in here, okay? And this is oat milk. See, this is a really big cup, right? So, because we've been talking about where coffee comes from, or the coffee we're drinking that particular day, I thought, let me find out where the oats come from that make this oat milk. This happens to be Chobani oat milk. So I found out these oats in Chobani are grown in Saskatchewan, Canada, and apparently there's very rich, fertile soil that's good for growing oats there, and that's where the oats in this oat milk came from. Now, I thought that was pretty interesting. So let me push the espresso button here, because Venezia is meant to be an espresso or a ristretto, okay? So, now let me say this. You ask, what is a ristretto? It is between 3/4 and 1 ounce. Not very much, is it? That would be a very concentrated, tiny little cup. Of course, an espresso is 1.35 ounces, so that's not a whole heck of a lot either. Alexa, how many ounces is a shot?
1 shot is 1.5 fluid ounces.
Okay, so an espresso is slightly less than a shot. You know, people drink a shot of, I don't know, tequila. Okay, but this Venezia has a strong enough, a rich enough flavor. I think it's going to flavor this very nicely. Okay, I'm getting some of the Venezia, a lot of the oat milk flavor, which I happen to like. Wonder if I should put a second one in. I'm gonna do it because, turn this back on, because there's a heck of a lot of milk here. And I think that it might have been a little bit too much to expect that it could stand up to all that milk and still have a good flavor. Because Venezia is a nice mellow espresso. Okay. And I tell you, when you're making espresso, you want to get every little drip when you're dealing with such a tiny amount. All righty. Give this a little stir here. So, I'm making progress in my apartment, even though I've had to rest this past week. And I liken it to archaeology. You know how when you see archaeologists and they have that little trowel that looks about like a cake server or something, and they're scraping away little layers at a time to finally get down to stuff. That's what I'm doing here. I've decided rather than tackling boxes, because I'm not supposed to do a lot of bending right now so I can rest my back, because of having overdone it on Saturday when my daughter was here for almost 8 hours, putting things away and building bookcases and stuff. And I just did a little bit too much helping. So now I got to rest up. Anyway, I can't go box by box because then I have to bend and get up a lot, you know, getting down to the bottom of the box. So I'm just skimming the top layers off of boxes every once in a while, just like an archaeologist. Okay. Oh, this is much better. Oh, this is much tastier. I've got enough of the Venezia flavor in there and the richness of it that I'm no longer, the oat milk is not overwhelming it. Pretty good. Okay, well now I'm gonna sit down with my great big cup of, maybe we should call this latte, Venezia latte, and have some breakfast and enjoy my Saturday. And I hope you enjoy your day. Miss you, Benny.